Thunder roared heavily through the storm. The sudden sound snapped me out of my half-sleep-like state and brought my attention back to the road. I quickly sat up straight. My hands clutched the steering wheel and nearly swerved the truck towards the tree line. I sighed in relief. Rain pelted down upon the truck like a constant barrage of artillery. The milky white mist blurred the barely illuminated street, making it nearly impossible for the headlights to reveal anything beyond 20 feet. Surrounding the ominous road from both sides, tall, thin trees loomed overhead. The old, rotting monoliths covered in thin, prickly leaves looked more like hundreds of thousands of surgical needles welded together. The drive was taking longer than expected. To be honest, I don't even remember when we embarked on this half-assed attempt at a road trip. Just then, Clementine groaned, shifting her frail body around in the passenger seat. I was so focused on the road and with myself that I had completely forgotten she came along with me. She looked almost tortured and malnourished. Dirty black stringy hair covered her face. Her eyes were shut tight, head drooping limply against the cold car window. It almost seemed like this was the first time she had slept so peacefully in a long while. I couldn't really blame her though. I didn't really feel much better and probably looked the same. My phone buzzed silently. Another message. I kept my eyes on the road. My right arm felt around the center console. Eventually my hand made contact with the device. I wrapped my fingers around it, tapping on the screen with my thumb to see the message. The screen's dim light illuminated the car. Probably Satan! Ignore! The title read. 11:56 p.m. The truck is gone. Where are you two going? 11:58 p.m. Brandon, for the love of God, just let it rest. Come back. 12:02 a.m. Why did you leave? Things were finally going back to normal, and you and Clementine just had to leave. Just turn around and come back. 12:20 a.m. You can't change the past. Accept it and move on. I glanced at the messages haphazardly before putting the phone back in my pocket, eyes glaring on the road. Suddenly, from the misty white darkness, a small figure on the side of the road caught my attention. The very sight of it enough to stop my heart and send adrenaline rushing through my veins. Suddenly, I slammed on the brakes. The truck screeched to a halt, swerving violently on the wet asphalt, nearly rolling us over in the process. Clementine immediately shot up from her rest. Her seemingly rusty brown eyes darted around, taking in her environment as if she didn't know where she was. Realization returned to her, and she quickly turned to me. I think she tried talking to me. I could see her mouth moving, but her words were muffled and muted. I was too busy looking dead ahead, down the dark, misty road, sprawling from the ground, surrounded by vines, dirty green metal on two rusted iron stands. An all too familiar sign that I swear I've seen a million times. Welcome to Barstow! The words echoed in my head, my heart violently pounding in my chest. I read the old sign over and over and over again. A part of me hoped that I had misread it, that we weren't really back. But I couldn't deny it. The evidence was right there. The sign taunting me. It knew I was afraid. It knew I didn't want to be there. Clementine looked at me. She still kept trying to say something, to tell me something. She finally gave up and slowly turned her head over to the sign outside. Her face contorted into horror, then determination. We both sat in silence, staring at the mess of green rust and words. None of us dared to look away. We don't need to do this, you know? We could always just turn back. The words barely left my mouth, coming out more as a thought than anything else. Clementine snapped out of her trance and glanced at me, looking betrayed. This is something we need to do. Both you and I know that. Her words finally became audible. No, I mean, really, Clementine cut me off. grabbing my face and locking eyes with me. You know we need to do this. Leaving wasn't enough, and it never will be. We finish our unfinished business, then leave. End of story, end of nightmare. Her dark brown, rusted, sleep-deprived eyes looked at me heavily, silently pleading with me. She was right. Leaving wasn't enough. We had already tried that, and yet here we were, right outside the town, again. You sure you brought everything we needed, right? Enough to make it all go away? I questioned. Clementine let go of my face, then looked at me blankly. Then she began to smile. Her smile turned into raspy cackling, until finally descending into maniacal laughter. She clutched her hair, head thrown back. I brought enough to take out the whole town. She smiled excitedly, the words barely coming out coherently. Then, her smile began to die down. The excitement in her eyes dimmed as she turned outside. The storm was still strong. It's raining. None of it will burn in the rain. She looked disappointed. We can, set everything up when we get there and then, burn it all in the morning. After the rain clears, of course. I reassured her. A smile slowly grew on her face again. Clementine looked back at me. This time, we'll get it right. I adjusted myself back in my seat and stepped on the gas. The welcome sign passed by slowly, my heart racing, mind still debating if we should even be doing this. You know, what we're doing is extremely illegal, right? Okay, and? Clementine chuckled. Look, all I'm saying is, it's just that if we get caught doing this, we'll get in serious trouble. I mean, burning down the whole town is extremely illegal. You know, again, even if it's abandoned. Questioning the legality of our plan now is really stupid. It's already too late to turn back. No, I mean, seriously, what if we get caught? I mean, what if they somehow trace the ashes back to us or something? Like what then? Then we plead insanity, Clementine said confidently. Not a single bit of worry in her voice whatsoever. I looked towards Clementine, frowning at her stupid solution. Then I grinned. Insanity! Forgot about that. We're the insane ones. Yeah, insane. My foot pushed harder on the gas. The car quickly gained speed as our bodies pushed against the seats. Up ahead, the outskirts of the town began to appear. To the right, a small run-down gas station with a few hollowed-out houses surrounding it. As we got closer and closer, I slammed on the brakes. The car swerved. Clementine desperately held onto her headrest, just barely stopping herself from slamming into her window, coming to a halt in front of the gas station. Jesus, Brandon! You're trying to get us killed! Clementine cried out, hitting my shoulder. We're insane! Remember? Like you said! I turned to Clementine, chuckling a bit before fidgeting with my door handle. Clementine looked at me with a frown, and chuckled back. Yeah, but I'll show you real insanity later on, Clementine responded, taking a hoodie from under her feet and putting it on. Ooh, freaky. But, let's get a little serious now, okay? Stay close and don't get lost out there. No problem. I, don't plan on staying alone out there, Clementine muffled as she put on her oversized hoodie. She adjusted the hoodie and pulled a beanie from the pocket. Putting it on, she looked at me and nodded. In unison, we opened our respective car doors. Instantly, the small safe zone of our truck was flooded by the full, unfiltered hatred of the storm. The somewhat cozy temperature dropped instantly, rain droplets pelting my face like stones, and the somewhat muffled sounds of the rain and thunder grew louder. I ignored nature's assaults on me, Reaching into the truck, I grabbed one flashlight before closing the door, and I made my way to the bed of the truck. Clementine stood there, shivering and twitching. Come on, dude, hurry! It's cold as fuck out here. I could barely hear her say as she tucked her arms underneath her armpits. I fumbled around in my coat pocket before finally feeling the familiar cold steel of the keys. Puissant! I said in my head. With one click of a button, the back trunk dropped, revealing the cargo. Stacks upon stacks of gas canisters, neatly tucked against one another. Gallons upon gallons of the flammable liquid still sloshing around from my cool-as-hell entrance. I put the flashlight in my mouth and reached to grab two of the gas canisters.
Well, look at that. We can't carry all this in one trip, now can we?
I grunted, dragging out two canisters to the wet asphalt. And that's why we gotta take multiple trips. Also, grab yourself another canister. You're holding the flashlight for me. You sure? I could hold the two canisters while you use the flashlight. I pulled the flashlight out of my mouth and offered it to her. First off, I am a strong, independent woman, Clementine said jokingly, hitting a funny pose. Also, you already put that in your mouth and got your little weird bodily juices on it, so, no. She got on one knee and picked up both canisters. Grunting, she walked away from the truck before stopping and turning back. Let's go? I shrugged, picking up another gas canister and following her. I walked closely behind her, pointing my flashlight up ahead. The old town we once called home was completely devoid of life. Empty and dark, left behind and forgotten by man. Nature had begun to eat away at our old town, reclaiming the land its own. To think that this place was where we had grown up, that it was... I turned back in horror, all inner thoughts completely silenced, shining the lights all over the houses closest to us. Dude, kinda can't see, Clementine hissed at me. Sorry, just, thought I heard something. Brandon, now is not the time to joke around. Just hold a flashlight and shine the way. I shined the light ahead. Clementine continued. As we made our way into the town, the trees grew less dense. The more decayed, rotting suburban houses sprawled from the waterlogged dirt. The whole town seemed to like it was raining for ages, despite the storm only starting when we went. The only signs of life whatsoever being here were the wet footsteps of Clementine and I on the concrete sidewalk. We began to pass by the old, muddy meadow that was once filled with happy families and picnics on bright, sunny days. Now, it was nothing more than a glorified mud pit. My flashlight began to flicker. I slapped it a few times, trying to get it fixed. Darkness suddenly enveloped Clementine and I. The flashlight made a sudden buzzing noise and died. I stopped walking and began to shake the flashlight. Dude, kinda can't see, Clementine hissed at me. Yeah, I know, the flashlight's not working, sorry. I smacked the flashlight, trying to get it to turn back on. Dude, kinda can't see, Clementine hissed at me. Yeah, I know, the flashlight's not working, sorry. I smacked the flashlight, trying to get it to turn back on. Dude, kinda can't see, Clementine hissed at me. Yeah, I know, the flashlight's not working, sorry. I smacked the flashlight. The flashlight flickered back to life. Ah, neat! I raised my flashlight up to Clementine. All good, I trailed off. Where Clementine had once stood was completely empty. Clementine! I swung my flashlight side to side, illuminating the deserted home to see if she had accidentally wandered off. Despite being completely hollowed out from the inside, I swear I could make out the shapes of people watching from the windows. Panic began to set in. Clementine, this isn't so funny. Please don't jump out at me. Haha, Clementine, this isn't so funny. Please don't jump out at me, I shouted out jokingly. Nothing. I desperately swung my flashlight around in all directions. The seemingly non-existent people in the homes watched over me. Clementine? I shouted out in the darkness, my voice barely audible from the rain. Clementine, what the hell? I mean, like, I know you said you'd show me real insanity, but come on, this isn't very funny. I shouted again. Nothing. Okay, you're just gone. Great. I really needed that. I really needed to just be alone out here, by myself. Great. I swung my flashlight around, back down the street. In the far distance, I saw a figure walking through the darkness. Clementine! I shouted out, finally dropping the gas canister to follow her. As I began to run towards her, she turned a corner. Quickly, I followed, only to see that she had somehow walked down the entire street towards the next corner. I stopped in disbelief. How the hell did she get there so fast? I shoved the thought in the back of my mind and began to chase her down the next street corner. Again, by the time I got there, she was already walking down the next corner. Every time I got close to her where she should have been, she seemed to have been turning the next corner. I passed by dozens of homes, street after street, passing by multiple rotting buildings. The shadows continued to stare at me from the windows. Eventually, I couldn't run anymore. My legs grew too sore. I leaned against a nearby fence, desperately trying to catch my breath. I turned up in time to see Clementine walking inside a large brick building. Shattered windows resembling jagged teeth. Torn open double doors looked like a portal to the deepest depths of hell. The sign sitting on an open field in front of me instantly sent shivers down my spine. Barstow High School. I cringed at the realization. The faint, blurry memories quickly returned. The long, awkward teenage years hit me like a semi-truck. Great! Excellent! This place, out of all places, this place! I mumbled out, getting back to my feet, walking towards the front of the school. Its doors were long broken, facing outwards as if something had escaped. The metal divider in the center torn off, sharp, jagged metal points bent in opposite directions. Dread washed over me as I shined my light into the void. A cold rush flooded my body. Out of literally all the places, why had Clementine run in here? I hovered my hand over my hip and began to debate in my head. Is there something in there? Am I really chasing Clementine? I mean, of course I am. Of course I'm chasing Clementine. I gathered up as much courage as possible and stepped foot into the school. The smell of rot and decay was instant. Water dripped from the molding, peeling ceiling tiles. The once big white bricks now crumbled and stained yellow. Green rust peeled off the lockers, leaving an iron smell in the air. I began to make my way deeper into the school and had to walk over large piles of stained papers and books strung across wildly on the floor. Their words illegible, forever lost to the rot of time. As I walked through the decrepit halls and shined my light across the walls, I realized something. Unlike any other abandoned building I had ever seen, there was no graffiti, no tampering, no signs that anyone had actually gone inside and took or salvaged anything. I truly may have been the first person to enter the school since the town was abandoned. I put the strange and slightly disturbing thought at the back of my mind as I continued walking through the halls. A few of the rooms I walked by held memories, most barely recognizable from the rot of time. An English class where I had first met a Korean kid who recently moved to the States. A choir hall where I was in choir for all 4 years of high school. Honestly, I still don't even know why I stayed in choir for so long. I never really liked it. The gym where the prom. More mundane memories slowly re-emerged from the deepest crevices of my mind. Then, I came up to my old senior English classroom. My heart froze as I stared into the messy, ruined room. The chairs and desks were thrown and jumbled up in such a way that it looked like a large modern art piece. But something inside that room shook me to the core, as if there was something that happened there that I just couldn't remember. A memory that refused to resurface, one so repressed by some unknown reason that just thinking about it gave me a headache. Suddenly, I had remembered why I came. Clementine! I sighed, more in frustration than worry. She wasn't here. Why would she be? I saw her come in, but where'd she gone? I retraced my way back to the school entrance, once again passing by the gym, where the prom. The sound of rain came back in full strength. Stepping outside, I shined my flashlight around. Where the hell could Clementine be? Suddenly, I could see a figure slowly approaching me from my peripheral vision. In horror, I swung my light to illuminate the creature. Its hands flew over its face, dark streaky hair stretching down from its head, old baseball cap, old gray sweater. Brandon, Christ, man. Clementine slurred out the words. She sounded almost drunk. Clementine! Where the hell did you go? I had to go on some stupid goose chase trying to get to you! I yelled hushingly at her. Clementine looked at me sadly, her eyes so hollow and yet so full of remorse. Dude, I finished my thing and would like to go to the truck again, she said awkwardly. So, please give me the keys? She said quietly. Her eyes avoided direct contact with mine. I chuckled a bit. The situation seemed a bit absurd. Clementine, are those your old clothes? I mean, come on. Don't think I don't recognize them. Also, why do you need the keys? The truck's unlocked if you... Clementine sighed, lowering her hands and slowly walking up to me. She raised her head, turning her old baseball cap back. She gazed deep into my eyes, almost as if she was judging me. I could tell she was debating in her head as if she wanted to tell me something, as if she wanted to warn me, and yet her body seems too weak and frail to say a word. Just please give me the keys, Brandon, was all she muttered out. I sighed heavily, reaching into my pocket and pulled out the keys. Suddenly, with an urgency and energy, she snatched them from me, put them in her pocket, and grabbed my face, pulling me incredibly close to hers. Our foreheads smacked together, her eyes fully locked in with mine, a sudden horror washing over her face. Promise me we'll get it right this time, Brandon. Promise me. She muttered out the cryptic message directly at my face before pushing me away and walking into the darkness. I stood there in complete and utter shock. What the hell was wrong with Clementine? She had run off without me. She looked worse than before, and she was slurring her words, wearing all those clothing from years ago. She literally had just whispered some weird cryptic message at my face. Holy shit. She really did go insane. I chuckled a bit, as if she wasn't insane enough. Coming back to the town must have completely broken her, the last straw. I stood there for a few more minutes until it hit me. I just gave my mentally unstable friend the keys to a motorized vehicle carrying large quantities of flammable liquid! I yelled out, slapping myself for my own stupidity. Before I even realized it, my legs were sprinting across the front of the school and down the streets. I began backtracking my way back to the truck, the shadowy figure seemingly following me, heart pounding from the inside of my chest like someone trying to escape with a hammer. The wind blowing against my ears began to take the sound of faint whispers as I sprinted through the rain. What was she gonna do? Oh my god, I swear if she left me. No. There's no way she would do that, right? I'm like, well, would she try to kill herself? No. Maybe. No. She wouldn't do that to herself. I would have been, I would talk to her. She would have said something. I would have done something. I could still talk her out of doing that, right? At this point, right? A million thoughts rushed through my head as I desperately turned the last corner of the street where we had parked the truck. In the distance, next to the gas station, I could make out a figure wandering around the structure. Clementine! I shouted out. Do not kill yourself! Do not do it! Clementine turned to me. Immediately she began waving her arms out, shouting at me, but I couldn't hear what she was saying over the rain. Where is the fucking truck? Were the first words I heard. She began marching towards me angrily. I finally made it to her, standing in front of the gas station. She also looked to have ran there herself. She leaned on her knees and looked me dead in the eyes. First off, Brandon, where is the truck? Also, what about killing myself? I gave you I gave you the keys. I choked out, catching my breath. You what? She said in confusion. You came to me at the school asking for the keys, and I gave them to you, and you ran off here for the truck, and I thought you were gonna kill yourself or something. Brandon, what the hell are you talking about? I was never at the school with you. She yelled at me, getting up my face. You ran off to God knows where and disappeared at the meadow. I had to loop around through the creepy-ass woods in the dark and chase you back here. She continued, stopping her foot on the ground in rage. No, Clementine, I never went in the meadow. My flashlight broke and you just ran off to the school and you took the keys from me, I explained, desperately turning my pockets inside out. No keys. Clementine's anger turned into horror. She glanced around at the empty spot where the truck was, then back at me. Brandon, I was never at the school. Who did you give the keys to? The thought set a chill down my spine. I tried looking for an answer in my head. No reasonable explanation came forth. Who did I give the keys to? Look, we gotta be at the wrong spot. Like, the wrong gas station, right? It's late. We're sleep deprived. It's raining like hell. We just gotta go inside the gas station, rest for a bit till tomorrow, then look for the truck and the keys in the morning. All right? I grabbed Clementine by the shoulders, looking at her more closely. That's when I realized something that I hadn't before. She was starting to look younger. I swear her eyes didn't have this much life in them when we arrived. Her skin seemed more smooth and soft, hair not so stringy and dead. I brushed the thoughts at the back of my mind. It was the least of my worries right now. Okay, right, she gulped. We finish this in the morning, then we leave. She pushed my hands off her and turned towards the gas station. I hate this town, she whispered. We walked towards the front doors. I tried to pull at the handle. It didn't budge. The glass doors leading to the gas station were locked. However, the ever-so-handy large rock on the side of the floor provided its worth as a makeshift key. The gas station, like every other building, was rotting from the inside. Clementine and I had to make our way to the back office area. Thankfully, there were enough cardboard boxes to make a makeshift bed. Life is really getting to a new low for us both, isn't it? Clementine whispered as she started to stare at the molding ceiling. Trust me, Clementine. Burning this place down won't bring us any closure, I responded groggily. Not to you, but maybe to me, she murmured out, her eyes finally shut, sleep taking her. I glanced at her, then the ceiling, the world around me slowly but surely going dark. Each blink made it harder to keep my eyes open. Burning this place down wasn't going to fix anything, but if it made Clementine feel any better, then so be it. I fully drifted off. Sleep consumed me. I waited and waited and waited, but dreams didn't follow. I was still conscious. I could still feel my body laying in a dark void. I could feel the sharp, icy tingling pierce my skin. The cold was eating away at my body's warmth. I tried moving my arms and legs, but my body was unresponsive. I tried screaming out, but my voice felt muted, not a single slight breath escaping my lungs. The cold silence was slowly consuming more and more of me. The unbearable seconds seemingly stretched into minutes, the minutes blurring into hours, the hours. I was suddenly awoken by a hard slap across my face. The stinging had me instantly shooting up, eyes wide open and scanning my surroundings. Clementine kneeled next to me, her face shifting between emotion after emotion. She looked at me confused, then horrified, then happy, and as if she was trying to choose her next words wisely. As she went through all the thoughts in her mind, I realized something. Her face was younger. Her hair curled, combed neatly over her head, clothing new and clean, brown eyes no longer resembling rusted metal. Brandon, first off, sorry for slapping you. Sorry for slapping you. You wouldn't wake up. Also, I need you to come with me. Look outside that door and tell me that I'm not insane. She finally managed to whisper out, her eyes still looking at me unblinking. Sure thing, I responded, slowly getting up to my feet. But by the way, you look, a lot more nicer now. How did you... That's when it hit me. The office. It wasn't rotting. The mold stains that once flourished all along the ceiling and walls were gone. The exposed wiring and supports now covered by clean, neat walls. Sunlight shined through the crack of the door that Clementine had seemingly opened before waking me up. Bright yellow rays illuminated the dark room, the calm wind blowing through the shattered glass, a familiar childhood scent, the sound of a car driving by. Horror rushed through my veins. I remembered this, the smell, the feeling in the air. I didn't want it. Slowly, I got up to my feet. Clementine crawled back, turning her gaze to the slightly open door, looking at it as if she saw an ungodly horror behind. But I knew it was something more welcoming, and I didn't want it. I cautiously made my way to the door. My heart began pounding in my chest again. My legs felt weak, as if they were going to collapse under me. My breathing began to go unstable as I built up the courage and swung the door open. I don't know what I was hoping to see. The same old rotten town, the gates of hell, 1,000 angry bees buzzing at rage. But it was none of those. It was the very thing I expected the most, and yet dreaded. Barstow. Just how I remembered it. The houses down the street were no longer hollowed out and rotting. The overgrown fauna clearly and neatly trimmed. The town that was so decayed and rotting just before was somehow back to its original picture-perfect American town state. Clementine clutched onto my shoulders, hiding behind me. She was violently hyperventilating. Brandon, for the love of God, please tell me you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Oh my God, I couldn't believe my eyes. Do we just go out there? No! Brandon, what are you talking about? That's insane! I mean, we can't just walk back into our old lives. I mean, I do, but I don't think we should. Look, it could all just be a misunderstanding. I mean, like, come on, maybe we're just seeing things. There's no way we're just back at Barstow. I laughed nervously. Clementine clutched my shoulders tighter, slowly getting closer to my ear. I don't want to go through everything again. I don't want to experience everything again. Clementine whispered into my ear. Don't worry. No matter what, we're supposed to look. We're supposed to look after one another. No matter what. We promised. I pressed softly on my hip. The small concealed firearm I had brought was no longer present. Slight worry hit me as I looked down. I was wearing my old clothing from before, just like Clementine. Through hell and back? Clementine asked me, raising a shaky fist next to me. Through hell and back, I bumped her fist. I wasn't confident in my response. Yeah! That's Barstow Part 1. I know it seems stupid and low quality right now. Just a reminder, my only microphone is the microphone on my phone, and the only thing I have to stop my mouth from making little noise and stuff is some little toy holster. But yeah, this story seems a little cliche and stupid right now. Ooh, two friends go to their old, haunted, abandoned town and will now have to face their childhood traumas. Boo! But no. I assure you, there are so many twists and turns I have planned out, and a bunch of other edgy, creepy, goofy stuff planned for the story. So, if this video hits the big goal of 1 like and 1 comment, then I promise you I will have the next episode out by maybe late-ish this month or early next month. But yeah, this is the first video of the channel. Quality is not going to get better until a long while. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, and I'll see you in your nightmares. Ah!